former England captain Michael Vaughan, who joins us now down on the ground level at the SCG. Michael, good morning to you. An SCG test and some weather. Who would have thought they would mix like they have, Vaughanie? But this call of bad light, the feedback from fans seemed to say it all. Gee, that was frustrating yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, light is one thing. There's a great debate about light, whether you can just switch the ball colour at that moment to make sure that we stay on. You know, we play a pink ball game, and that's something that the administrators have to look at. But the public was sold short yesterday because the conditions did improve, and pretty much from the moment that they went off yesterday afternoon, it's very clear that they weren't going to get back on. I reckon we missed 2 hours of play yesterday because conditions did improve and we should have seen a lot more cricket.
Yeah, indeed. It didn't look like Joe Root and Harry Brook had any trouble seeing the ball, that's for sure. They were in great touch, Vaughanie, and their best partnership of the series, but I'm sure people like yourself and a few of the Barmy Army are asking, why has it taken this long to see that sort of partnership build?
Yeah, they play great. I mean, they're two wonderful players. You've got Joe Root, who's England's greatest player, and Harry Brook, over time, will get himself into that category. And it is frustrating from an England point of view because, you know, pretty much from the second innings in Adelaide, where England were asked to chase 430, the history books tell you that that's not possible. England have played some good cricket. They're obviously more hardened now. They look game ready. They didn't prepare properly here in Australia, and it's cost them a serious result because this Australian team are there for the taking. And the Aussies have to accept that since they've won the Ashes, they went 3-0 up. They might not accept that to the public, but they certainly have switched off. They've not been the same Australian side since they went 3-0 up. England have played some better cricket, but the Australian team look to me like they've lost their edge.
Just on Harry Brook, we heard him there post-game. Where is he in his evolution into potentially joining Joe Root as one of England's very best?
Oh, he's miles off that at the minute, but he's certainly the player that we look at and think in 5 to 10 years' time, we're going to see so much more of Harry Brook. I mean, he's frustrating at times because he plays a game that's very unorthodox in terms of what we've seen Test cricket played before. I look at someone like Rishabh Pant for India. He plays in a similar fashion. Harry Brook, I think they're great for the game, and I think it's very important that England realise that Harry's allowed to play the way that he plays, and he gets support from around him with the likes of Joe Root, Jacob Bethell, Zach Crawley at the top of the order, Ben Duckett. They're all players that like to score, but the one thing I wouldn't want to take away from Harry Brook is that flamboyancy. There was a moment yesterday where Mitchell Starc started to bowl a couple of bouncers, set the bouncer trap. He nearly fell into it 2 or 3 times, and that was the one moment where I thought, oh, can you just duck and weave just for 2 overs, get Mitchell out of the attack and target someone else? But Harry Brook's a different style of player. He doesn't think like, I guess, an old schooler like me would think. He thinks in a way of how can I get on top of Mitchell Starc, even when he tries to set the trap. And, you know, it's kind of a new modern way of playing, which is at times what England have done wrong in this series. They've played the wrong shots at the wrong time and given Australia that moment. Yesterday, they got through it. They're in a great position. The pitch is a strong one, and they should be able to get a really big first innings total.
And considering it was 3 for 57 before Root and Brook's great partnership, how worried were you when you saw those 3 wickets fall first session?
Yeah, I mean, it was just nipping, and Boland, Nisa, Mitchell Starc, with the new Kookaburra ball, they're always going to have a little bit of success. And, you know, there was a couple of decent balls. There was a bit of lapse in concentration from Zach Crawley to play across the straight one. But, you know, against this Australian team with Mitchell Starc in it in particular, and Scott Boland, you know, it's very hard to go unscathed inside the first 20 overs of the Kookaburra ball. But what England did well, they played sensibly. So when the field was spread for Harry Brook, he didn't go for the glory shots. He just knocked the ball into the gap. He got used to the conditions. He got used to the pace of the pitch. And then he suddenly started to play more flamboyantly. That's Test match cricket for you.
Indeed it is. But it also brings us to today where many Aussie fans are wondering when the next wicket might come because there's a real sameness around this attack. And as we know, no spinner, and I note no spinner specialist-wise for both teams. What's your thoughts on that? Because the SCG, so famous for its tweakers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised Australia didn't go with a spinner. You know, I saw Washington Sundar get 4 for 22 against England at Lords in the English summer, not spinning the ball, just a change of pace, a bit of variation. Todd Murphy's a good youngish off-spinner. And you look at the amount of batting and the amount of bowling that Australia have with the all-rounder batting at number 7. Nisa's a good player at number 8. So they've gone with the extra batter, really, which shows you that they're slightly concerned about that batting lineup in terms of the numbers that they've been achieving. Even though they've won the Ashes, I still think there's a vulnerability about this Australian batting lineup, and they've shored up the batting this week. They've packed it, and they've gone without the spinner. Over the course of the next 4 days, we'll see whether spin comes into the game, because when the sun starts to shine here in Sydney, and it will, Jim, don't worry, the sun will start to shine, I think this pitch will dry out, it'll crack up. Of course, that'll create some opportunities for the seamers, but I think there'll be opportunities there for the spin. It's Test match cricket, and a pitch that's been prepared to last 4 or 5 days. I always believe a spinner should be in the team.
Yeah, indeed. Look, Cam Green, is it a big day for him? None for 57 off 8. He went at more than 7 and over, and we know his position already under some scrutiny. Is he the man you think Harry Brook might just go after this morning?
Well, he'll hope that Cameron starts this morning because he just didn't get it right with his lengths yesterday. He was all over the place, and England created that opportunity to score quickly. I mean, 57 off 8 overs. He just looks like he's low in his confidence levels at the minute. It's a big week for Cameron. Obviously, with the ball, he struggled yesterday, but he's got a chance today to redeem himself. But it's more with the bat. He's really a batter that bowls a few overs these days, and it's his numbers with the bat that's been a concern for Australia. But on a pitch like this, it's going to stay a good pitch for 3 days at least. And I guess if we get today's 4 and 5, it'll start to do a few tricks. But the first innings of the game is going to be so important for both sides. England have got to get a monster score, and then Australia, when they bat, of course, that new ball will do a bit, but it's still going to be a good pitch for batting, and it's an opportunity for Cameron. If he gets in early, Australia, I hope he won't, but if he does, a great opportunity on a pitch like this to get a big score.
And just finally, Vaughanie, on that very point, can you set us up? It feels like runs very much on offer again today. Could Harry Brook press the go button? Should Australian fans be a little bit nervous about where this game could go?
Well, they shouldn't be nervous because they've won the Ashes, and that's why all those England ex-players, fans were so frustrated that this England side have got better as the series has gone on, and that preparation is going to be a talking point. They got it completely wrong, but if Harry Brook can be there at 10:30, we start at 10 o'clock, and Joe Root, they're going to get a big score here, and if he can get to those 3 figures, his first 100 here in Australia, you know, of course, he's not a part of an England Ashes winning series this time, but in 4 years' time, Harry Brook will take a huge amount from knowing that he's got 100 here in Australia, and by that time in 4 years, you know, there'll be changes because 4 years is a long time, but a number of this England team that have been here and failed and done it in a way that's not been successful will know exactly how to come down here in 4 years, and I'd hope be successful. So it's a big day for Harry Brook. It's a big week for the England team.
It is indeed. Vaughanie, always enjoy your insights and analysis. Enjoy the day's play.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.